Hey, hi friends, and welcome to one more tutorial. My name is Vivian and I am the creator behind the Craft Coast Designs, and today we are going to crochet together this small container. This is a cover that I decided to make to cover this little container right here that I got from Dollar Tree. So I got it to storage something on my bathroom, and I didn't think that it would match with my decor, so I decided to go ahead and crochet this cover right here, and I think it ended up turning out very cute. So I decided to come here and show you guys how I did it. So if you want to learn how to do it, just make sure to keep watching, and I will let you guys know everything that we will need to make one of those. I am going to use this pink yarn for today's tutorial. This is a cotton yarn, a 4 medium yarn. You don't need to necessarily use a cotton yarn, but I used a 4, and if you want to have the same size as mine, you might want to use 4 as well. I'm going to use a 5mm hook. You will also need a tapestry needle, pair of scissors, a small container from Dollar Tree, and I also, for the handle, I used this bead right here. Like, it's kind of a medium size. I do have a bigger one, but I thought it was too big for the container, so I decided to use this one. But you can use whatever you want to. It's just so you can have something to lift it up and open up the container to take whatever you need from inside of it. So let's go ahead and let's learn how to do it. We are going to start with a magic ring and chain 1. Now inside this ring, let's go ahead and insert 6 single crochets. Insert the hook inside the ring and grab the yarn, pull up a loop, and once you have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all the 2 loops. And just repeat that 5 more times until you have 6 single crochets inside that magic ring. Once you have 6 single crochets, go ahead and pull that tail tight and close the ring. Oops. This way. And now go ahead and slip stitch on the top of the very first single crochet. This right here. So insert the hook, grabbing both loops, and slip stitch. So you have your first round done. For the second round, chain 1. This chain 1 will not count as your first single crochet, and now we will go ahead and make 2 single crochets for each stitch from the previous round. So at the end we should have 12 single crochets. So go ahead right here on the very first stitch, insert your hook, grab the yarn, and make 1 single crochet. Now go ahead on the same stitch, insert the yarn again, insert the hook again, grab another loop, and make another single crochet. Now skipping to the next stitch, insert the hook, grab a loop, and make 1 single crochet. Now going back to the same stitch, make another single crochet on the same stitch from the previous round. And for this round, you will just repeat the same thing until we get to the end. And as I said, we should have 24 single crochets when we get at the end of this round. So now that I got at the end of my round, so go ahead and slip stitch on the top of the very first single crochet. Make sure to grab both loops and a slip stitch. Now for the next round, chain 1. This chain 1 will not count as your first single crochet. Now go ahead on the very first stitch and put 1 single crochet, and on the next stitch we will do an increase, and the increase is nothing but 2 single crochets together on the same stitch as we did on the previous round. So go ahead and make 2 single crochets on the next one. Now on the next stitch, put 1 single crochet. On the next one, make 1 increase, 2 single crochets on the same stitch. And for this third round, this is how we will repeat. So 1 single crochet, 1 increase, 1 single crochet, 1 increase. So just keep working that way until you get at the end of this round. And once you get at the end of this round, you should have 18 stitches. Got here at the end of the third round, and you should have 18 stitches, and on the last stitch from the previous round you should have an increase. So your round should finish up with an increase on the last stitch, and you should have 18 stitches. Once all that is right, go ahead and slip stitch on the top of the very first single crochet. And for the next round, chain 1. This chain 1 is not a single crochet. Go back to the same stitch and work 1 single crochet. On the next stitch, work 1 single crochet. On the third one, work 1 increase, or 2 single crochets on the same stitch. On the next 2 stitches, place 1 single crochet on each one of them. On the next stitch, put 2 single crochets on the same stitch. And this is what we will do for this round. 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. So just keep doing that until we get at the end of this round. And at the end of this round, here is where you should have 24 single crochets. Once you get at the end of this round, you should have, as I mentioned, 24 single crochets, and on the very last stitch you should have the increase. And if all that is correct, go ahead and slip stitch on the top of the very first stitch. And for the next round, chain 1. That chain 1 again is not a single crochet. Go back to the same stitch and make 1 single crochet. On the next stitch, work 1 single crochet. On the next one, another single crochet. Now on the next stitch, here is where we are going to work the increase. So work 2 single crochets on the same stitch. Again, the next one, on the next 3 stitches, work 1 single crochet for each one of them. So 1, 2, and 3. And on the 4th stitch is where we are going to work an increase. So this will be the repeat for this round. So 3 single crochets on the next 3 stitches, and on the 4th one we are going to work an increase, which means 2 single crochets on the same stitch. Once you get at the end of this round, you should have 30 single crochets, and again on your last stitch you should have an increase. Once you have all that done, go ahead and slip stitch on the top of the very first stitch. Now we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are going to make just one more round, and then we can start working on the vertical part of the container. So let's go ahead on this round number 6 and chain 1. This chain 1 is not a single crochet. Go back to the very first stitch and work 1 single crochet. On the next stitch, 1 single crochet. On the next one, 1 single crochet. On the next one, another single crochet. So we are going to work now 4 single crochets on the first 4 stitches, and on the 5th one, go ahead and work an increase. So this will be the repeat for this round. So on the next 4 stitches, work 1 single crochet for each one of them. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now on the next one, go ahead and work 1 increase, which means 2 single crochets on the same stitch. So just go ahead and keep repeating the same thing. On the very last one, you should have an increase, and you should have 36 stitches on this round. Once you get at the end of the round, go ahead and slip stitch on the top of the very first stitch. So now we are done with the bottom of the container. Go ahead and for the next round, chain 1. Again, this is not a single crochet. We are going to make 1 round of single crochets all around with no increases at all, but we are going to work on the back loop only. So I do have a video here on the channel that explains better, and it focuses only on the back loop only, but I will let you guys know right now how to do it. So when you look at your stitches from the top, you will see this V shape right here. So the loop that is facing you is the front loop. That loop that is on the opposite side is the back loop, and this is where we are going to work this next round. To grab the back loop only, you will insert the hook between both loops and grab just that back loop. So go ahead and insert the hook between those 2 loops, grab only the back loop. So grab the yarn and work 1 single crochet. On the next stitch, the same thing. Insert the hook between both loops, grab only that back loop, grab the yarn, pull up a loop, and work 1 single crochet. So go ahead and just repeat the same thing until you get to the end of this round. So now that we got here at the end of that round, go ahead and slip stitch on the top of the very first single crochet. And now what we are going to do, we are going to work 2 rounds of single crochets like I did on this one right here. So this is the very first one, the one that we worked on the back loop only. So now go ahead and work 2 more rounds of single crochets with no repeats at all. You should have the same 36 stitches on both of them. So I'm going ahead and I will work mine. You can pause the video right now and work your 2 single crochets round, and I will meet you guys back here so I can show you what we are going to do next. So after you finish those 2 rounds, go ahead and chain 1. Chain 1 doesn't count as your single crochet, and on the next round we are going to work another round of single crochets, but we will work on the back loop only, the same way that I showed you before when we were starting the very first round for the bottom, for the vertical part of the container, for the body of the container. So let's go ahead and grabbing only the back loop of each stitch from the previous round, go ahead and work 1 round of single crochet. So go ahead and keep working until we get to the end of this round, and I will meet you guys here to show you how we will work the next round. Once you get at the end of the round, go ahead and slip stitch on the top of the very first stitch. For the next round, chain 1. That chain 1 will not count as a single crochet, so go ahead on the very first stitch and work 1 single crochet. On the next stitch, we are going to work a puff stitch, and to do a puff stitch, yarn over, insert the hook inside the stitch, grab the yarn and pull up a loop as if you were working a double crochet, but instead of going ahead and yarn over and pull through any loops, you just go ahead, yarn over again, go back to the same stitch and pull up another loop. And for this puff stitch, just because it's a small project, we are going to yarn over just 3 times. So yarn over once more, insert the hook back to the same stitch and pull up another loop. So once you have 2, 4, 6, 7 stitches on the hook, yarn over and pull through all the loops. So this is how you work the puff stitch. Now on the next stitch, go ahead and work 1 single crochet. Now on the next one, work another puff stitch, and this will be the repeat for the whole round. 1 single crochet, 1 puff stitch, single crochet, puff stitch. So we worked the single crochet right here, so let's go ahead and work another puff stitch, yarn over, insert the hook on the next stitch, grab the yarn and pull up a loop, yarn over again, go back to the same stitch and pull up another loop, yarn over a 3rd time, insert the hook on the same stitch, pull up a loop, and once you have 4 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all the 4 loops, and single crochet on the next stitch. You are going to repeat the same thing all the way around until you get to the end of this round, and your very last stitch should be a puff stitch, and then we are going to slip stitch on the very first single crochet. Got here at the very end of the round, and as I mentioned, on the very last stitch you should have a puff stitch. So let me go ahead and work my last puff stitch, and now I'm going ahead and slip stitch on the very first single crochet. So this is how your project should look like right now. For the next round, go ahead and chain 1, and again this chain 1 will not count as a single crochet. And what we will do now, we will just work a regular round of single crochets all around, no secrets, just grabbing both loops. Just go ahead and work 1 single crochet for each stitch, and at the end of this round you should have the same 36 stitches that we started the body of the container with. So just go ahead and work one round of single crochets all around. Once you get at the end of the round, just go ahead and slip stitch on the top of the very first stitch. Now to complete this detail right here, we are going to work the next round of single crochets working on the back loop only. So we will make the same detail right here that we have on the bottom of those puff stitches, we will have above them as well. So go ahead and chain one. Chain one will not be a single crochet, so go ahead and start working one single crochet for each stitch of the previous round, but working on the back loop only. I finished the round of single crochet working on the back loop only, and as you can see, you can already see the detail right here. This is how your project should look like right now, and from now on it's super simple. We are just going to work single crochets all the way up to build the body of the container. And for this project I worked, other than this one, 8 more rounds of single crochets, and this will be enough to cover the whole container. So just go ahead now and keep work rounds of single crochets until you have 10, counting this one right here. And I'll meet you guys here when I have those 10 single crochets round completed, and I can show you how we will finish it up. After this detail right here, you should have 9 rounds of single crochet, not 10. And on the last one we will work this round of slip stitches, which I will show you right now. And as you can see here, those 9 rounds are just enough to cover the whole container, and this is how your project should look like right now. So now when I got here at the last round, go ahead and I just did a slip stitch. Let me show you again, just a slip stitch right here on the very first one. And now you are not going to chain one, you are going right away inside the next stitch and a slip stitch. On the next stitch, slip stitch, and just make one round of slip stitch all around until you get to the end of this round. So I got here at the last stitch from the last round that we did with slip stitch, and I can go ahead now, I will go ahead now and cut the yarn. And what you will do now, you just pull that tail all the way up, and we are going to do invisible finish right here. So take your yarn needle, and here is what we are going to do. So we are just going to create this loop right here, and to do that we are going to, you can see that, see right here how it goes underneath the next stitch. We are going to take the yarn and walk underneath the very first slip stitch. Now you will come back, oops, you will come back here and insert the hook on the middle. You can see right here that both loops comes from the same place. So what we are doing, we are just recreating this loop right here. So come back here on the middle of both loops and insert the yarn, insert the needle and pull the yarn. And this is what you should have, and just makes your project look like a little bit more neat and more professional. So now you can just go ahead and weave in the ends, and you should be done with this part of the project. If you look at the lid, you will see that it's the same thing that we did for the bottom of the body of the container cover. And what you can do now, you can just go back to the beginning, and the only difference between the bottom and the cover is the bottom we worked 6 rounds, and for the lid, just to make sure it will fit perfect on the top of it, we are going to work one more round. So you will see that we have on the lid, we have 2, 4, 6, 7 rounds. So go ahead, go back to the very beginning and work those 6 rounds. And then once you have those 6 rounds done, just come back here. I will show you how to work the 7th round, and then you can make 2 of the same piece, and we will just sew them together with a round of slip stitches. Okay, I finished one of the parts. As I said, if you went back and followed the instructions for the bottom of the container, you should have this right here right now with 2, 4, 6 rounds. I do have one here already prepared with seven rounds. Let me go ahead and show you how you will do the last round on this right here. And you need just to make sure to make 2 pieces of those, because we will sew them together. When you get to the round number 6, we will go ahead and add one more round, and for that you're going to chain 1. The chain 1 again, as we worked the whole pattern, it does not count as your single crochet. So go ahead and work 1 single crochet for each of the next 5 stitches, and on the next one work 1 increase, 2 single crochets on the same stitch. And this will be the repeat for this last round. 5 single crochets, 1 for each of the next 5 stitches from the previous round, and then 1 increase. Once you get here at the end of this round, we will go ahead and start sewing together both pieces. So let's put them together wrong side with wrong side like this, and try to align those corners. Although we are working a circle where we make those increases, you see that it forms a little bit of a corner, so try to align those corners. And when you insert your hook on the very first stitch right here, you will go ahead and insert on both parts. So right here, see, you will get all 4 loops, the 2 for the front panel and the 2 for the back panel. And just go ahead, pull through all the 4 loops and slip stitch. On the next stitch, the same thing, go through all the 4 loops, grab the yarn and slip stitch. On the next one, the same thing, go through all 4 loops, grab the yarn and slip stitch. And you will work right there like this until you get to the end, and make sure both parts are attached together. So just keep doing this until you get to the end of this round and you have sewn together the both parts. So this right here will be the part that will be down, and this will be the right part that will be up. And then you can use anything that you want. Actually, I just used, as I said, this bead right here, and I attached it here with hot glue, but you can also sew it on the panel itself. I think it works as well, or you can just do like I did and put a little bit of hot glue and attach it here, and it will make it easier for you to bring it up and down when you want to take something off of the container. So here is my project done. I finalized sewing both parts together, and I just glued this bead right here with hot glue, and you see that the container fits, the glass container from Dollar Tree fits inside this crochet cover perfectly. And then you can go ahead and put the lid on the top, and no one will know what you have inside. You can store anything that you want. Okay, here are my two containers together. This one seems a little bit funny just because I don't have that glass container inside of it, but this one has. And yeah, that's it. If you decide to make one of those, make sure to take a picture and tag me on my Instagram. It is Craft Clothes Designs, and I will also leave the link of my Etsy store with my PDF patterns if you want to go ahead and take a look at them. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.